66 million years ago, the world was nothing like the quiet planet that we know of today. Across ancient floodplains and steaming forests, giants walk the earth in a deadly game of survival. Among these titans, one predator has captured our imagination above all others, the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. But what if everything you thought you knew about who really controlled these ancient lands wasn't exactly 100% correct, that is? The T-Rex, while very formidable and the apex predator of its ecosystems, did not always come out on top. As nothing, no matter the raw size and power, is invincible. If you want to uncover the true power of the Tyrannosaurus rex, I would suggest watching my 5 fascinating facts about T-Rex before you watch this video. Now, let's begin. As the titanic sauropods grouped together in herds and small herbivores hid from the massive predators, well, there was other herbivores that showed standing up to the king could possibly be in their favor. This is the Triceratops, a massive ceratopsian dinosaur that was an absolute unit, to say the least. Essentially built like a huge rhinoceros. It gets the name three-horned face from, well, the 3 horns on its face. What a surprise. Sporting a small horn on its nose region and 2 massive horns that are extremely sharp that extend across the whole of its head. And these back 2 horns were attached to a massive frill, which probably wasn't meant for too much battering but was meant for defense against deadly bites behind its neck. But it definitely could have been used along with the horns to attract mates, just like deer use antlers in the same way. This herbivore was one of the last ornithischian dinosaurs to exist before the mass extinction event. We are quite sure that they moved in herds occasionally or all the time, like similar to that of modern-day buffalo and etc., which would make it 100 times worse for anything trying to hunt them down. This is an instance where T-Rex would definitely not go after the herbivores, because it would get absolutely gored, similar to something like this. Of course, it wouldn't look exactly like that, but you get the general gist of it. Now, let's just say these 2 giants actually met each other one-on-one. Just let me give you a sense on how tanky the Triceratops actually was. Adult specimens range 8 to 9 meters and have a skull that can make up a third of its total body length. Larger specimens can be even more gargantuan. Most average adults can range in the 6 to 10 tons range, which, just to get a sense of scale, is 20,000 pounds, or the weight of a semi-truck without the trailer. Now, larger specimens would tip the scale over 10 tons, making them heavier than the T-Rex. This T-Rex is usually around 8 tons. Now, bigger specimens have skulls that are over 2 meters long. That is as long or longer than an average human is tall. Now, we actually have evidence of T-Rex attacking these specific herbivores. Frills have been found with massive bite marks and a literal site where 2 were attacking each other to the death. And by the looks of it, they just suddenly stopped. I wonder what caused that. It really can go both ways. The Rex lands a crushing bite to the neck or head of the Triceratops and it's over. But this isn't exactly all realistic, because you would have to consider the point where T-Rex actually has to get into that position to bite its neck, which is covered by its massive frill. But biting the head would end up like a skewer, so it just wouldn't work. And yes, Rex usually had the height advantage, but it typically weighed less, and Triceratops is heavier and on all 4 legs, making it more mobile. Plus, the horns on Triceratops would have aligned perfectly with the Rex's chest or stomach when it charges forward, meaning one precise strike and it's over for the T-Rex. But same with the Triceratops, it has to be precise to hit said fatal strike. And something that's talked about a lot is T-Rex decapitating Triceratops. As shown here in one of my favorite pieces of paleo art ever, it is said that the T-Rex could bite down on the frill and rip its head off with its mighty neck muscles. Which is an absolute death sentence for the Triceratops, obviously, because if the bite lands, then yes, Triceratops can't exactly backpedal away or charge into the sheer weight of the T-Rex, because it's stuck in a very awkward position where it can't exactly be mobile. It may seem far-fetched. The Rex's neck muscles would not have disappointed in this circumstance. But I'm not putting down the Triceratops, as a fight to the death could really be 50-50, and these 2 lived together, but they probably didn't cross paths too often, given the distance that the fossils was found. Now, let's just say T-Rex just survived this fight and walked away into the bush thinking it's all safe. Probably suffering massive blood loss, but to say the least, it's found its comfort zone. And it hears a few thumps, and then it feels a massive stone smash into its skull, knocking the Rex out cold. And yeah, T-Rex is completely out for now. And it's none other than the armored tank Ankylosaurus, which is the other arch-nemesis of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, or so it's believed to be. Now, the Ankylosaurus lived in North America 75 to 66 million years ago. The Ankylosaurids are an interesting group of dinosaurs. They are classified by their thick, armored, covered bodies, and with their heavy-duty clubtail. Now, not all of them actually had these weapons, as earlier nodosaurs, which are clade within Ankylosauria, did not have this clubtail, but instead had massive protruding spikes which would be equally as deadly to massive predators. The Ankylosaurus, their late family member, was covered in thick armored plates known as osteoderms that grew within the skin, similar to that of modern-day crocodiles. It even had armor underneath its eyelids, pretty interesting. But the only place that they really had to protect was their soft underside, and that's where the tail comes into play to fend anything off. This tail was able to swing at speeds so high it would cause bone-crushing force instantaneously, being somewhere around 4,800 newtons per second of force, which for reference, a baseball getting thrown at your head full force is around 13 newtons. And yeah, just remember how that felt in gym class. Now, 370 times that force with a solid chunk of bone, yeah, a human would get liquefied organs and bones would shatter into an uncountable amount of pieces within half a second. How big did this one get? Well, the average size is about 6 meters. I saw some things talking about how it could be a max size of 10 meters, but there isn't actually a specimen that's that long, so don't really know where that's coming from. And the range of the weight is quite heavy, being 5 to 8 tons. Quite a broad spectrum, I know. Its really broad, robust body makes sense, but we don't have many bones to begin with, so size is always a hard topic. Now, Ankylosaurus against a T-Rex, in my opinion, is actually way worse for the T-Rex. It's just such an awkward battle. Ankylosaurus was much lower to the ground and can essentially back itself up, and anytime the Rex got close, it would swing with deadly force. Now, something you gotta understand is that this is a battle that Rex would probably want to avoid, as it's just such a risky fight, because the Rex could very well be smart on picking its fights. Things can be extremely underestimated. And one hit from the tail and it could be absolutely lights out for the T-Rex and possibly even kill it and incapacitate it. Now, if the Rex tried biting the back, not much would happen to the bulletproof armor, but it would learn from this and easily figure out that its head doesn't exactly have the best armor all around it and try to go for that. But even then, wouldn't have an easy time landing that bite, as the Ankylosaurus would probably just back its tail up into the T-Rex's face again. But at the end of the day, we don't have much evidence of these two even fighting each other, so maybe that's a sign that it did actually just rarely happen. But until we find confirmed evidence, we will never know about the brawls these two prehistoric creatures may have had. If you like this longer sort of documentary style video, subscribe, because I'll have a lot more headed your way. And as always, thanks for watching.